Naveen is a very commercial film director in Telugu cinema who has just scored his sixth back-to-back hit and is looking to make another film. After coming back from his producer Fancy Parameshwar's house, a garbage truck dumps a bunch of trash onto his car. Naveen then finds an old container that has a film reel and decides to check. In the reel, Naveen finds scenes of a girl enacting and is mesmerized by it. He decides to find out who she is and learns that she is an eye doctor named Alakya. Naveen decides to talk with Alakya to get her to be a part of his film. But she starts to grow hatred towards him, as her family has a deep hatred for cinema people. One day, at an event for Alakya's hospital, Naveen is invited as the chief guest and gives Alakya a present. After the event, one of the couples present at the event tell Naveen how much his films had positively impacted their deceased son. Alakya is moved by the story and decides to open Naveen's gift. After reading what was inside the gift, Alakya decides to visit Naveen at his house. Naveen then shows Alakya the reel he found and she reveals that the person in the reel is not her, but is her deceased identical twin sister Akila. Alakya tells Naveen that Akila was passionate about acting ever since she was a child, but their parents were against it as it would hurt their reputation in society, especially after Akila's performance in a Romeo and Juliet play. Akila started to act in a film directed by her friend Deepak. However, during filming, Akila's father pulled her out of the film and an enraged Akila decided to leave the house. Akila and Deepak later got married without her parents knowing and they disown her. Later, Deepak's producer and their family die in a car accident, causing the film to be stalled completely, which makes Deepak to fall into depression. Due to the depression, Deepak committed suicide, leaving Akila distraught. Not being able to take this, Akila also committed suicide by jumping off of her apartment building. Her family completely shuns cinema from there onwards. Touched by Akila's story, Naveen decides to write a story based on Akila and Deepak's life and he pitches this idea to Venkat, who approves. Naveen visits Alakya and tells her on how he wants Alakya to play Akila's character in his film. Alakya is reluctant, but Naveen tells her his story about how as a debutante in the industry, his girlfriend was asked to sleep with a producer in order to land a role and she agreed to do it. Unable to digest this, he was about to commit suicide. But after seeing Deepak's death in the newspaper, Naveen gets motivated to make commercial films and to make money. He explains his sincere intention to actually make a good movie that gives a proper tribute to Akila and Deepak. Alakya eventually agrees to star in the film without her parents or her relatives knowing. Alakya and Naveen slowly fall in love with each other. Alakya's parents introduce Alakya to Varun, the scientist son of a family friend, and someone they desire to be Alakya's husband. Varun actually ends up meeting Alakya once more as he plays a minor role in Naveen's movie, though he eventually understands and is friendly about it. Everything goes smoothly until one of her relatives spots her. This enrages Alakya's parents and Alakya gets mad that they suppressed her sister and her emotions, which led her to her death. She then decides to leave the house as her father believes a gossip circulated about her and Naveen. Alakya decides to complete the film. After the film is completed, Naveen approaches Alakya's parents and tells them that he really made a sincere attempt at honoring Akila and Deepak, and thinks they will be touched as well. He promises that if their perspectives doesn't change, he will leave Alakya forever and never show his face to them. Thus, they show up to his film's premiere. Initially unfriendly, the movie begins to make them realize the mistakes they made. Naveen surprises them and tells them that he has included the shots from Akhila's reel in the film for some of the scenes, and they emotionally break down. Finally, in the climax, he made the story a successful one by founding new producer to make his film, who is Fancy Parmeshwar, by giving credit to him for approving his current film and who believed him at his earlier stage. By adding his life story and ended, his film became a huge hit, and Akhila receives a Filmfare Award and dedicates it to her parents. After watching the film, they tell Naveen and Alakya that they are proud of both of them for the film and for giving a proper tribute to both Deepak and Akhila. Then Naveen and Alakya make their relationship official.